Hello, Judo Fest 2020. Good morning, good evening, and good night to all of you guys joining us around the world, and welcome to the Judo in a Pandemic panel discussion. My name is Grace Goulding, and today we want to talk about how this year has affected the Judo community, Judo family, as well as the sporting community around the world as a whole. I'm pleased to be joined today by Vlad Marinescu, Chief Media and Marketing Officer for the IJF, Antonio Castro, the Chair of the IJF Medical Commission, two-time Olympic medalist and world judo champion Jimmy Pedro, and world and European medalist Martina Tridos. Welcome, everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. We technically have a fifth panelist. Paula Pareto will be joining us. We're going to show a brief clip of an interview we did with her yesterday on her experiences on both as an athlete and a doctor.
Hola, buenos días. Estamos aquí con Paula Pareto, campeona olímpica de Argentina. Paula, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, muy bien. Buenos días.
Buenos días, gracias. Bueno, hoy hablamos solo un poquitito sobre tu trabajo como médica en esta situación, en la pandemia, cómo te afecta tu trabajo que haces.
Yo soy médica y estoy en el área de traumatología, por lo cual tal vez no estamos en la línea de contacto directo con los enfermos de COVID, no los atendemos directamente, pero sí estamos muy en contacto con muchos pacientes. Muchos de nuestros pacientes han sido infectados, por lo cual lo primordial en el hospital es cuidarnos obviamente nosotros con un montón de medidas preventivas para así cuidar al resto de los pacientes que tratamos, porque las urgencias siempre están y lo que uno tiene que tener cuidado es el que viene de afuera, si tal vez está infectado o no está infectado, para no infectarse uno y a su vez para no infectar al resto de los pacientes y obviamente para no salir y ser una fuente de contagio. Así que como nos mantuvimos el trabajo en el hospital fue un poco diferente en cuanto a eso, a los protocolos de seguridad que fuimos teniendo, y después en mi caso en particular para relacionarlo con la parte deportiva de por sí, teniendo hisopados de por medio y bueno, entrenando en determinados periodos y después yendo al hospital en otros periodos como para tampoco enfermar a mis compañeros. Así que nada, dividiendo los meses en un periodo de entrenamiento bien fuerte y en un periodo más estando en la parte del hospital. Así que así fueron estos meses para mí, con muchos hisopados y bueno, dividiendo entre entrenamiento y la parte médica. Lo más complicado en esta pandemia creo que fue el hecho de tener que dejar de ver a mi familia, a muchos de mis amigos, principalmente a mi familia. Yo soy muy familiera y creo que lo más complicado fue eso, porque si bien la parte médica nosotros estamos acostumbrados, al médico le gusta hacer lo que hace, a mí me encanta hacer lo que hago y estaría ayudando siempre en donde necesite, por más que tal vez haya muchos riesgos, pero sí el miedo mío era contagiar a mi familia, por lo cual muchos médicos, o sea, me ha pasado a mí y le ha pasado a muchos colegas, amigos, que han tenido que dejar de ver a la familia, muchos con hijos, tal vez que dejaban de verlos por cuidado de ellos mismos, ¿no? Y nada, es como uno hace lo que le gusta y nunca nos vamos a quejar, sino que es algo que está bueno. Pero bueno, este año en particular, el hacer eso que a nosotros nos gusta, nos apasiona y lo hacemos con placer, nos costó por otro lado de que al salir de hacer eso que nos gusta, tampoco podíamos disfrutar a nuestra familia. Entonces yo creo que a mí por lo menos fue lo que más me pesó este año, el tener que dejar de compartir muchos momentos con familia, con amigos y nada. Con cuestiones que lo sacan a uno de lo laboral, que creo que hay que siempre hacer un equilibrio entre el trabajo y el tiempo, digamos, de descanso, de ocio, que en mi caso era con la familia. Así que puedo destacar eso de este año. Lo que más me costó fue tener que dejar de ver, o ver un poco menos tal vez, o con otra distancia a mi familia.
Bueno, y si podrías decir una cosa importante para deportistas y personas en todo el mundo, ¿qué les sugeriría a quienes que quieren mantenerse fuertes en casa?
Creo que lo importante de esta pandemia, de este año, yo tomé como positivo el hecho de que en cualquier lugar y cualquier situación uno puede superarse en el día a día. Yo pasé muchos meses que no pudimos salir a entrenar y sin embargo entrené en casa y siempre haciendo algo, y creo que la clave fue querer superarme a mí misma, digamos, en el día a día. Se habían suspendido todas las competencias, incluso los Juegos Olímpicos, por lo cual tal vez no había un objetivo fijo deportivo, pero mi objetivo cuando me levantaba era ser un poco mejor ese día que el día previo, hacer cosas nuevas, intentar mejorarme en mi casa o en donde sea. Yo siempre digo que lo más importante es dar el 100% de cada uno, sea cual sea ese 100%. O sea, tal vez mi 100% en mi casa no era el mismo que el 100% cuando voy a entrenar con mis compañeros en un dojo o en una competencia, pero bueno, es el 100% de lo que puede dar ese día, y creo que fue la clave para ir pasando la pandemia y para ir estando en casa, manteniéndome activa y sin bajar los brazos, digamos, superándome a mí misma en el día a día.
Thank you, Paula, again for taking the time to talk to us. Again, for those of you just joining in, welcome to the Judo in a Pandemic panel discussion. Piggybacking off of what Paula said, I'd like to bring in Antonio Castro and ask you, hearing what Paula had to say about her experience as a doctor, can you relate to those?
Yeah, thank you, Grace. It's a very good pleasure to stay with all family judo today. When we hear experience from Paula, she inspires us because we work very hard this year in this situation. From the beginning, we need to know exactly what happened with this virus, how come we detected the transmission is very high transmission. At the beginning, a lot of patients died. Now the protocols are very good and increase the health of the infected people. But in case of judo, it was very hard. But all judokas show us they are very strong. They work very hard with their mentality. It's very important in this situation the mental health. But the judokas are very strong on that. They find a way to training themselves at home, and they, in front of this situation, they show to the world what judo can do in this experience. We work from the beginning very hard, from the perspective from our medical commission and from the executive committee, from our president, ask for create the protocol to start to competition again, or to start to practice at the beginning, to start to practice judo at the beginning. After that, we try to see in the future. We try to go again to our competition, to our schedule. We have a good experience with that. A lot of people work very hard on that. All the federations, French Federation, Portuguese Federation, all from our medical commission, we see what happened with the World Health Organization, the risk assessment from World Health Organization, that he suggests what happened in the sport. And we try to see a lot of points for our competition. We can talk in this time about our experience in Budapest, for example, our first big competition. We try to see the nature of the event, if the event is national or international, how much risk is to have international participants, what can we do to mitigate the risk of people, the risk from the equipment, from the venue, what happened with the local regulations. We try to find a real protocol to work and to have a good tournament to a low risk. But in the case of Paula, I come back to Paula because her experience have a particular point of view, because she is a doctor and also she is a judoka, and she have a risk from the hospital, and she learned everything about the risk from the hospital, from the patient, from her work. And at the same time, she practiced judo. She tried to train in judo. She tried to combat to the competition. She dreamed to go again to the Olympic Games. They inspire all the judo world. That's what I want to say about this.
Absolutely. And we have with us another judoka training for the Olympics, Martina Tridos for Team Germany. Can you tell us what your experience has been like training in this pandemic?
Well, I think you just have to be a little bit more creative, but you will always find a way to work on something, to improve, to get better and to prepare yourself for the Olympics. For sure, it's not the same way as it was before. You don't have as many partners. Maybe there are times you cannot go on the mat, but you will always find something to work on.
And Martina, you also competed under COVID protocols. Can you tell us a little bit about what that was like compared to normal competition?
Well, first of all, I have to say I'm very impressed with the organization of the tournaments. While I wasn't competing in Budapest, our federation didn't want to take the risk, but we were competing in the European Championship in Prague, and it was so professional. We arrived there by car, and after that we had the first COVID test. We already had the 2 COVID tests before, and then just before the competition I had another one after the competition, and I think it was really, really professional from the beginning until the end. I didn't see there any risk. We were wearing all the time the mask in the competition area, only not on the warm-up area and on the mat, but I felt quite safe due all the tests, and I think the risk was less big than going to the supermarket.
We're glad to hear that. And Vlad, as someone who was on the ground here in Hungary planning with these COVID protocols, can you tell us maybe what the biggest challenge or how you went about creating these protocols with the local federation?
Thank you, Grace. First of all, hello, everybody, and hello, dear panelists. It's a pleasure to have the opportunity to use technology in this difficult time to connect with one another, share some experiences, and even see old friends and have a little bit of fun with it. It has been a terrible pandemic that went across the entire world. We were not prepared for something like this. And how do we engage and represent and support the judo community around the world with content and with activities that can enable them to exchange, to be safe, and to stay interacting with their friends around the judo world? So we tried different types of projects, specifically on social media and on all types of other media, to start creating different types of series and different types of video compilations to make sure that we were well feeding the judo community around the world with different video content, the summaries of the weight categories, interviews, lives with different stars, analysis. We made Judo Fit, which was the idea that all of the judoka around the world are home and they have the possibility to share their trainings with the rest of the judo community. And this was a movement toward being able to allow the entire judo community, while not being able to be in the dojo, but from home, to still compete and still interact, and of course, most importantly, stay safe and stay healthy. Not only physically healthy, but also mentally healthy. Besides the Judo Fit, I'm happy to say that we did launch Budapest, as Antonio just mentioned, under a very strict protocol that allowed us to ensure the safety of the athletes and the participants at the highest level possible, with association and help from the National Federation of Hungary, all national federations from around the world with participating teams, which now, by the way, I'm pleased to share with you that it's the protocol that has been shared not only inside the judo community and for all judo events, but also to help the entire Olympic movement and other sport federations and other governments around the world to see how we were able to do it. Definitely having the values of judo and the discipline of our judoka helped a lot with ensuring that our bubbles were safe and protected. Just one more thing I want to add, Grace, is about the kids. We have been concentrating also to create some content for the judo kids out there. So we had the grade 8 competition that was drawing the values of judo, which was participated in by 150 plus countries from around the world, where kids could draw how they would understand the different values of judo. And currently we're live with Judo Fit Kids that allows kids to unlock achievements online in an IGF platform when they are completing certain tasks, whether they be physical or whether it be reciting the values of judo. The cards that they're unlocking, of course, have a special surprise from the world champions that are signed with a quote or a motivation sentence for the judo kids around the world to enjoy.
Thank you, Vlad. It's great to hear that judo's a pioneer and able to help other sports get back into action. Now, Jimmy, coming to you about, you've heard the COVID protocols on how we compete, but I'm interested on a local level. What are the protocols that you have for your dojo that you implement?
Well, running a dojo through the pandemic has been very, very difficult. And as judoka, we always have to find new ways to do things, to adapt, to overcome, and to deal with whatever situation we're dealt with, right? And I think that's what judo has taught all of us, right? When things get difficult or you come up against the wall, you have to figure out how to solve that challenge. So in America, at least, especially where I live, we have a very strict governor. We have a very strict region. We follow the science in Massachusetts. And, for a period of time, we were shut down. So during the shutdown, I had 240 judo students before COVID hit. And those are recreational students that train at my academy. And I had to find a way to engage with those students, to give them some sort of sense of positivity and to continue their judo lessons, because I run my school as a business. And if I am not able to keep my students coming, then my staff doesn't have a source of income. So one of the first things we did right away was we implemented a free judo gi program to all of my students. So we figured everybody's going to be stuck at home. One thing we can do to continue the judo lessons is to offer a free judo gi to every child or every student at my academy, so that therefore they would automatically have somebody to train with at home, whether it's a mother, a father, a sibling, whoever, they could still continue to do judo lessons. And then we also had to improvise by creating Zoom online training. So what would happen is my instructor would go to the dojo, he would set up his camera, and he would run judo lessons for all the kids training at home. And it was a regular judo class. It was 30 minutes to 45 minutes each lesson. And the kids would all follow judo at home and take the lessons. And we kept them on pace with their curriculum. We had to find new ways to train. So if a kid didn't have a parent or a partner to work with at home, then we did shadow uchikomi, we did shadow drills. Of course, we did lots of fitness. We still talked about the importance of, developing good character, staying positive, setting goals, being respectful at home, helping your parents out. And we kept them on their curriculum so that they continued to receive their promotions through COVID. So we took attendance as if it was a regular class. We had the kids do 15-minute private lessons with the instructor to show their techniques so that they could, be graded for their next promotion. And then we got creative, and for the ones that live close to the dojo, we actually dropped off their promotions and their certificates in their mailbox. And some of them we just mailed. But we had to keep judo going, and it's obviously evolved. We have a lot of different levels of judo at my school. So I have a toddler program for the ages of 2 to 4 years old. And now that, we're able to operate at 40% capacity, we still have to maintain social distance. We've separated our mat, and we've put our mat into 2 meter by 2 meter boxes. So every person is social distance because they stay in their own colored box during judo training. And the parent and the child sometimes come together because they're from the same family and they can stay separated. Other times the child's in the box by themselves. But we had to implement really strict protocols. Everybody had to fill out an online form questionnaire before they came to class, confirming that they haven't been exposed to COVID. When they come in the dojo, they get a temperature check. Right there by assistant instructor, temperature checks everybody. No parents are allowed in the dojo that aren't participating in any classes, so we minimize the number of people that come in. We have a hand sanitizing station when they come in the dojo, and then nobody interacts with anybody. They just come in, they bow, they go to their section, they have their water bottle, everybody wears a mask, and they just stay in their section and they take class. As soon as class is over, the whole mat gets vacuumed, the whole mat gets sanitized, washed down, and then 30 minutes later, the next class begins. And we're running, 6 to 8 classes every single day, social distance type classes at my academy for those that want it. we still have a bunch of people that aren't comfortable coming into an indoor location. And so for those students, we actually run at-home Zoom classes. So the student can still to participate. And what we found out is that the Zoom class has to be done specifically for the people that are at home. You cannot run a class with 10 kids in the class and also try to service the Zoom kids, because the Zoom kids tend to get left out, the ones that are training from home. So we do run specific classes for the kids that are learning online, so that instructor is forced to interact with that online student, and they get a chance to come up, demonstrate their skills in front of everybody. It's important to highlight the students and give them an opportunity to get better. On the higher end of the spectrum, the adult elite classes, we're fortunate that a lot of them live together in the same housing unit. So for those people, they're already exposed to each other. We are allowing those people to do contact judo because, they're all tested. They're all following the protocols, but when they come on the mat, they are training with masks, but they are doing full randori sessions. And we have a group of about 10 athletes that are training this way and have been training this way since the beginning of COVID.
Martina, is it the same? Is it the same in your dojo?
Well, in the beginning, we had the full lockdown, so everyone was practicing as good as they could at home. After a while, we were practicing only with one partner at a time. So we had the appointments on the mat from 7 until 8 o'clock, and everyone could stay for 1 hour on the mat. And then afterwards it was cleaned and 30 minutes in between, so the next people could come. So we didn't have a big contact with all of the other partners. So this stayed like this for 1 or 2 months. Right now we're having little groups with 20 people. But this can change as well soon, because we're having right now the second lockdown, But as Jimmy already said, everything is possible. Really impressed what they did, everything on the mat, also with the kids. And I think right now it's only the people who are in the national team who can be on the mat, and not all of them. So this is also, and the other ones are having Zoom meetings.
Antonio?
No, I want to say the experience for Martina and Jimmy was very nice also, because we rebuild our practice of judo. A lot of initiative coming from this difficult moment. For example, I remember Pan American Confederation or Continental Confederation create judo at home. Judo at home have opportunity week to week, every week, every day, maybe 2 or 3 times per week. Referees, trainers, about health, about everything, about experience from everybody. And we create judo at home, and judo at home help us to start again our activities inside the judo. I want to say for us is very important the health. No one can joke about the health of the athletes. The athletes, it's most important for us. That's why the IGF established strict measures. Everybody go to the bubble. Everybody go from the airport to the hotel, and we try to don't have a risk. It's true we don't have spectators, but the most important for us is try to stay safe for our athletes, for our trainers, our staff, everybody. Naturally, the possible scenarios has been studied and prepared. That's why in the future we have again next year our schedule for come back to the competition. For example, I want to say something. The equipment that we use, we not only the disinfectable, we use disposable materials. The catering, for example, we using disposable papers, cups for tea, for coffee in the venue. The ventilation for filters, regular cleaning, keeping surface dry, applying special solution for the tatami, restricting access to the areas, and the hotel the same, the transportation the same. And we learn a lot from the last tournament in Budapest. For example, we amended the protocol for sure. Now athletes can order food from the outside. Automated document handling, new website where delegation can upload the PCR test and other required documents. We can pre-check, less paperwork, less crowding, better lab reported methods. Also automated via our website. We learn and we change a lot from Budapest Grand Slam tournament, and for sure in the future we can start to see what happened with the vaccines, with vaccinated people, how to handle to some vaccines need to be given two times to be effective. They have different period until they become effective. They have a different period until they are effective. I try to say that we recreate again a protocol. Protocol is very dynamic. No? Protocol we can change a lot. We hope in the future we can speak more about the protocol. But the most important thing for us from our medical perspective, from our medical commission, is how judo family face this situation. We are very happy how the people create a lot of innovation methods to come back to the practice. Is one of the most important thing in this experience that we learn from this critic period.
So, Antonio, I had a question for you. This is the billion-dollar question. Everybody wants to know. Will the Olympics in Tokyo, in your opinion, happen? Do you think that's what percentage is it likely that you think the Olympics is going to happen? And would it be possible just to mandate that every athlete competing in the games it gets vaccinated prior to coming to Tokyo? Is that the plan?
Yes, I think it's a good question. I want to say something. Our dreams come true. We need to stay in the Tokyo. We need to have a tournament in Tokyo for our athletes, for all of you, for all our family. For sure, I think I am very positive about this. I am very positive because the scientific world have a very good work. We have a lot of vaccines, protocols, and I think next year, for sure, we have a tournament in Tokyo. We hope also, not only tournament, we hope the fanatics, the people, spectators in Japan. Everybody know what happened in the judo in Japan. This is an important tournament. In all the competitive program in Japan, the judo going to be the best for sure. We hope we have Olympic Games and we have a vaccine. I think our athletes need to think positive about the future. Need to see the Olympic Games. We have Olympic Games for sure, and they can compete and they can win this medal and they can stay in this place, a special place for judo, like Japan.
Jimmy, I dare to be a little bit more firm about it. I think that the likelihood of the Olympic Games taking place is almost a certainty. So Martina, you can be happy as well. I think that because of the experience that we had as well as judo, the protocol and the IOC has been watching how we made the judo event. They've been watching how the other international federations have started the tournaments again. I think we can be sure that our athletes can show their best at the Olympic Games. They've been preparing for this moment for such a long time that it'll be fantastic. I think the only big question is, will there be spectators in the venue? Not will the games happen. On the other hand, I really enjoyed, Jimmy, your presentation of what you're doing for the judo lessons, and it just brings me back to understanding that, judo is more than just a physical sport. It's a community and it's a family. It's an educational program based on values, and you're showing that you have exactly what to teach those kids when they're home that make them better humans and make them more mentally healthy and make them able to interact with their friends. I think that was fantastic. So I want to come back to you, Jimmy, with one question. Will all this training with masks result in a better performance in Tokyo when they don't have to wear their masks?
I wish that was the result. We'd wear masks all the time, so to guarantee success. But No, it actually makes you a better conditioned athlete. It's definitely harder to train with a mask than it is to train without. So unquestionably, it makes it more difficult to breathe. It makes the training harder. You see kids trying to pull the mask down all the time just to get oxygen during training. But I don't think it's going to make them better judo players, but maybe more physically fit.
Because judo definitely is very important, not only the physical part, also the mental aspect, right?
I think the one thing that COVID has made us realize is that there's a whole new opportunity to help educate people online, and that there's actually a big demand for it out there. If you think about people who live in remote areas that don't have access to a judo dojo or an instructor that can help them reach that next level, online learning is an absolutely perfect tool to help educate people and bring them in the door and introduce them to judo. And so Travis Stevens and I have launched an American Judo System, which is an online learning tool. And it's aimed really at the novice judoka, introducing them to, the character development of the sport, why you should train judo, how it helps your mind, how it helps your body become a more confident individual. But at the same time, it's forced us to break down our training to the very basic level where you have to learn, by yourself at home. Judoka, we're so used to having partners and training people to work out with when we go to a school. Typically, the first thing besides falling you learn is how to hold the gi and how to fit in and do uchikomis with your partner or learn techniques with a partner. And what we've done is we've broken it down to the basic movements where you're just learning the foot techniques of an ochigari or a taiotoshi or an ogoshi, and then how to use the hands and the feet together. Then we use training bands, and we have a sequential way for these people to learn and train at home and get better at the sport. Because there are a lot of adults who maybe did judo years ago who have a little kid and they want to teach them judo, but there's nowhere near them that they can go. There's no judo academy for them to learn. So we've brought that training online, and it's really sort of helped us revolutionize and introduce judo to a whole new group of people.
Well, Pedro, judo, the way of adaptability, you've absolutely proved that. And like you mentioned, you always need, it's a combat sport that needs other people, which would lead me to Martina, competing on the elite level. How was it, being there, competing, but no spectators?
Well, I think everyone will agree that fighting in Paris or fighting with their home crowd is amazing. But I have to admit, I didn't mind. I was so much in my judo tunnel, fighting tunnel, I really didn't mind not having the spectators there. Of course, Paris will be always special with all the spectators inside. But like this, the most important thing is that we could do what we love and, could do judo.
Without question. I mean, the ability to do judo, whether there's spectators or not, just the fact that you get to compete, you get to step out on the mat and do that, it's remarkable, because the alternative is really depressing, right? So I applaud the IJF. I applaud all you guys did to help make this happen. It's so important that athletes get the opportunity. Listen, they're all young, they're all healthy, they're all fit, and if they're able to do it safely and not expose others to the virus, why can't we compete? Right? So I applaud everything you guys have done, and it's been an amazing thing to see. We can see live judo now anytime, every tournament that goes on, we're able to watch it as if we were there. So we thank you guys for all you've done for the sport, and we hope it just continues to grow.
Vlad, would you like to tell us what the judo family has to look forward to?
Thank you, Grace. I think that, as Antonio has mentioned, the COVID protocol is in force. We have the calendar that it will be published very soon for next year before the Olympic Games. We have lots of exciting tournaments coming through where the protocol will be enforced. And I think that, as Jimmy said, the idea of being a judoka and not being able to actually compete is probably one of the biggest issues resulted from the COVID pandemic. Now, with the new events taking place in a safe way, we're able to see those amazing judo matches take place. And I think that all the judo community and the judo family is happy to see their favorite athletes and great judo. So we have a lot coming forward. And as well, of course, preparing for the Olympic Games. We'll be preparing highlights and trailers and category reviews and lots of really fun media in order to get everyone ready and up to speed and up to date with the judo stars around the world.
Well, happy to see the positive attitude from all the panelists here. And actually, what's interesting is that all of you, separately in different answers, have all mentioned the topic of staying strong, not only physically, but also mentally, which is essential in a pandemic like this, which leads me to my final question to Martina. We spoke earlier in the year about how athletes can handle this pandemic and tips that you had for dealing with those struggling. And I was wondering if over the course of these years, which of those tips have you found the most successful?
I would still stay with my opinion I had in the beginning of the year that mental health is super important for also to bring some performance on the mat. And I think the routine is one of the most important things, and to set goals, to always set new goals, to always find things to work on. Yeah, and stay positive, what Jimmy and all the other ones of you said.
For sure, and I would like to end on that positive note, and thank all of you guys for taking the time to talk to us, and girls as well, Martina. I wish everyone happy and healthy end of the year and holiday season. And we'll see that next year is a very exciting year, and I hope that we can all enjoy it together.
And remember, it's not if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen, right, Vlad? So guys, get ready, keep training hard, because it is going to happen. Tokyo 2021, here we come.
Looking forward to seeing all of you very soon in person.
And
all
to
right,
everyone
guys,
watching at home, thanks for tuning in. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and enjoy the rest of Judo Fest.